Guys, how you doing? This is Captain E3E once again with another video. This time I'm going to talk a little bit different today about the LTV Vought A7 Corsair 2. The first flight of the A7 Corsair 2 took place in 1964 with John Conrad at the controls, and its first deployment was during the Vietnam War. The basic variants of the A7 Corsair 2 was as following. For the U.S. Navy, the A7A, B, C, and E. The other was for the Air Force, the A7D and the A7K. Now, they were armed with a single 30mm gun. They carried a pretty huge warload. Mark 82 freefall bombs, 1,000-pound iron bombs, napalm, Maverick anti-tank missiles. You name it, the A7 carried it. The U.S. Air Force wanted to order for a replacement for the Douglas A1 Skyraider, and they had asked the U.S. Navy if they could borrow their A7 Corsair 2, and the Navy gladly obliged, and the aircraft made its first flight in U.S. Air Force markings in 1968. The first of the A7s arrived in Vietnam in 1969. Units that were to fly the A7 were the Maulers, the Fists of the Fleet, VA-25, now today VFA 125, the 355th Tactical Fighter Wing at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona, the 23rd Tactical Fighter Wing at England Air Force Base, now closed, the 354th Tactical Fighter Wing, and both in Colorado and in Ohio, where the A7 was based mostly throughout its career. And there was a test wing at Edwards Air Force Base in California, and that is the U.S. Air Force's largest test wing ever to be seen by any standards. The A7 was based mostly on the Forrestal and the Midway class aircraft carriers, both Midway, Coral Sea, and the Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which was eventually retired in 1977 and then was sold for scrap. The A7 was to fly off the improved Forrestal class, the Forrestal class itself, the Enterprise, Midway, Coral Sea, and the Nimitz class, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. They would fly throughout the after the Vietnam War, and into the 1970s and into the 1980s, but the A7 Corsair II's days were numbered. The U.S. Air Force was planning on replacing the A7 with the Fairchild Republic A10 Thunderbolt II. And the first of the A10s began to arrive on active service, beginning with the 23rd Tactical Fighter Wing at England Air Force Base, and with the 354th, with the 355th at Davis and Monthan, and the 354th at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And that wasn't until maybe around the mid-1980s, but the A7's days were numbered. And the U.S. Navy also had plans on replacing the A7 and the A6 Intruder with a new aircraft, the F-18 Hornet. The first of the F-18s began to arrive on active service with VMFA 314, the Black Knight, and later with VFA 125, the Fist of the Fleet, was to replace the A7. Most of the A7s were passed over to Greece and Portugal. They would take the majority of the A7s. These were basically the old A7As and some of the A7Bs. The TA7C was passed to Taiwan. Oh, not to Taiwan, to Thailand. And Thailand's first aircraft carrier. But as the A7's days with the U.S. Navy was about to come to the end, and it finally did just after Operation Desert Storm, and most of the squadrons transitioned over to the F-18 Hornet, and the A7 had simply went into retirement at Davis and Monthan Air Force Base, or better known as AMARC, the airplane boneyard where all of America's warplanes went to die or to be resurrected once again. But, only for museums. So, anyway, that's it on the Vought A7 Corsair 2.